Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
So he's got one strike against. And he said, as he came up in the
Welcome, everybody, to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Man, oh man. Another home game, fellas. I'm joined, as always, at least a second time now. First one was over at Eastern Market, but then again, Fox 2's own, Ermani Networks, with Maz's own, Ryan Ermani. Ryan, how you feeling today?
Oh, repping the WSN, Woodward Sports Network. Yeah. Had to throw a little LA Knight in there, a little wrestling reference there. But feeling real good today, Jeff. Iafrate. Oh, my gosh. Look at the cast of characters we have in here. Are you kidding me? What a day. Lions, baby. Let's go.
We got Michael Gentry in the sound booth holding it down for us as usual. Booner joining us to give us his bets later. And I've been losing a lot, Booner. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
so I'm going to need you today. I'm going to need you.
I'm feeling good. I have a couple bets for you guys for the Lions game specifically.
Hopefully you didn't have Miami last night.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Booner would never. Booner would never.
Yeah, stay away from that one.
Yeah, we'll get to your bets later on in the show at 10:15, so stick around for that. You'll give us our best bets for the game, and then we'll sprinkle a couple around the NFL. Jameson Williams are going to get you very soon. Before all that, though, Chris Platte in the TD booth as always, man. Appreciate you for holding it down. But for right now, I want to just read some things out for the people, and I know people are chiming in right now as we go on. John Lord says, I heard Hollywood got scared of Neil confronting him. No, that is not true, John Lord. You know that. William Rhodes says, game day 4-1, here we come. Greg Round says, Colorado screwed me last night on a 5-game parlay. Yeah, it's another conversation there. Jay Thomas, almost time to smoke up while the Lions smoke that Panthers pack. There you go, Jay. Getting fired up. I love it. And by the way, we'll be checking in with Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, and Lucas Klotz over at Eastern Market. They'll be sending us content. You guys kind of saw it as the show opened up there. But I'll read some things off here. Lifetime, Panthers, Lions. Panthers 8-4 against the Lions all time. They're 6-1 at home, but 2-2 on the road against the Lions.
And everybody remembers what happened last year, right? I mean, pretty much wiped the Lions out of the playoffs. I mean, that game was one of the more embarrassing games that the Lions have played in a couple of years under Dan Campbell. Even in year one when they were doing all that losing, what were they, 3-13-1?
Right.
I'm not sure they looked as bad in that season as they did on the field in Carolina last year. So this is a little bit of a revenge game. And you mentioned there's something about the Panthers that always seems to bite the Lions.
Right.
Just a I was going to say a gritty team, but my goodness, just something about Carolina that really gets to the Lions.
It's just one of those things. It's like teams provide matchup problems. And that happens. Like the Jags, it could be, the Colts for the Jags, for example.
It's a great point.
So... And we'll get into all that, too, later. And I've heard a lot, at least people this week, and I'd love to get Ryan's thoughts on this. We can kind of talk about it early before we get to the injury report. But people calling this thing a trap game. Like, in my thought process on it is, if you're a top 4 to 5 team in the NFC and you're labeled a contender, then this isn't a trap game, Ryan.
Right.
Like, that's end of story right there.
Well, I can see that in the NBA, if you're looking forward to, if the Lakers are looking forward to playing the Knicks one night and they have to have a stop in Detroit the night before and play the Pistons, I can understand that. But when you get 17 games in the NFL, there should be no trap games at all. Each and every week, you should bring the best effort that you have. You only get 17 of them. So I don't know what you're looking ahead to or looking behind from or think that you're just going to go out there and win the game. And I think that's one of the things about Dan Campbell. These guys don't think that they could just show up and win.
Right.
I think many fans believe that this is, an automatic W. But I don't think Dan Campbell does. I don't think these players do. They absolutely have to play their best game to beat the Carolina Panthers. And they should do it soundly, despite the injuries that you'll get into in a little bit. No matter the injuries, they are a better football team. They've prepared like it all week long. Now go prove it later today at Ford Field.
And Bobby Vickers says, I thought he just said the Lions are 6-1 at home against the Panthers. Why are y'all nervous? No, actually, it's the opposite. The Panthers, and I'll go through these again for people. The Panthers are 6-1 at home against the Lions, but they're 2-2 on the road, meaning the Lions against the Panthers at Ford Field, it's 2-2. Very different than 6-1, Booner.
Yeah,
very different.
And to the trap game thing too, that kind of Ryan just touched on there, is I've been kind of talking about this all week. Is it does feel like a little bit of a situation to where, if you guys remember the Arrowhead, huge win in Arrowhead, and then you come home and you play Seattle, everyone's saying, hey, this is an automatic win, and then this last week you go to Lambeau in primetime, just like Arrowhead, you get a huge emotional win. And then now you're coming back home, and it seems like everyone's like, hey, this is a blowout win. This is an automatic win. But to Ryan's point, Dan Campbell, if you guys remember after that Seahawks game, which we did the pregame show for, after the Seahawks game, Dan Campbell came out and said, hey, I let it slip a little. The guy slipped a little bit. We kind of came in with that mindset that we were already there, and it was an automatic win. I do think Dan Campbell's coming into this week where he's like, listen, this isn't an automatic win. We have to go out there. We have injuries. We have situations going on. You have to go out there and you have to play like you guys did at Lambeau, like you did at Arrowhead. That's kind of where my mindset is. But the blow, I don't know if I think you just, like Ryan said, you have to go in with that mindset that you can lose this game and you have to go compete every single snap.
I agree with that, Boone. I totally do. I think the difference between Seattle and Carolina is that Seattle is a top 5 team in the NFC. I mean, the talent that they have on the field, maybe even a little bit better than the Lions, to be honest with you, perhaps individually in some of the one-on-one matchups, but Carolina is not, and that is why you just got to go out there and get the job done today. Come out clean and move on to the next one.
Yeah, the Panthers are in the process with a rookie quarterback of just kind of getting over some hiccups. That's what they're doing right now.
It is a different situation, but it's just like when you're looking at it in the scheme to where it felt like everyone was saying, hey, we're going to win in Seattle. We're going to beat Seattle.
But Seattle, though.
Two different teams. They're on different levels for sure. I'm just looking at the situation. Dan Campbell's approach this week different than he has in week 2 when going into that Seattle game. You could tell in every press conference he had this week that he has that mindset to where it's like we're the Detroit Lions are the underdogs.
Yeah, William Rhodes says Seattle is a better team with better coaching. See, that's fair.
Yeah, very
and the thing about the Carolina Panthers, which we'll get into more in depth later, but it's crazy. Ryan, with Bryce Young under center, they have not scored more than 20 points.
And look, if you go back and look at what the Lions have done defensively, I think I did it earlier this week. In 12 of the last 16 games they played, I believe they held their opponent to under 20 or under. So it does feel like you just have to get to 20 in this one. And this Lions defense has been one of the more underrated storylines for this franchise, for this regime, for this situation. The numbers defensively were so skewed last year because of the 1-7 start, Boone. This team defensively has been lights out. And even if you look at the Seattle game, okay, if you look at the final score, they put up 37 points. Well, they got 31 in regulation. 7 of them came on a pick 6. So really they even held Seattle to 24 points in regulation. The defense did anyway. And then 2 of those touchdowns, Seattle got the ball off of turnovers inside the 40-yard line. So this defense has been really good if you just kind of take your eyeballs in from a 30,000-foot view. This defense has been really good. If the Lions can score 20 today, they should be able to win this game because I don't think Carolina sees 20.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I know people bring up, is this one of those games where the defense kind of slips up a little bit? No, I don't think so. I think the trust is at probably the best point it's been at defensively. Players trusting each other. Now, a couple of injuries, of course, but this team has showed us. I mean, it doesn't matter. C.J. Gardner-Johnson goes down. You didn't have Emmanuel Mosley. You didn't have guys that were hurt already. Josh Pascal, Julian Okwara, who's back today. But those guys were all out, and guys just stepped up. That's a good defense, Booner, is it not?
No, it is. Aaron Glenn, if we want to be honest, too, he's putting guys in the right positions to kind of compete out there.
100%.
As much as some people don't want to admit it, he's putting the guys in the right spots to go out there and compete and hold teams under 20. And I mean, if just kind of the fact is last year, obviously you gave up 350 rushing yards to this team. Right now, you're sitting there as the first rushing defense in the NFL. So these guys, it's a completely different night and day difference, this defense, than it was last year to start the year. And that 1-6, 1-7 start, you're sitting there and that defense turned so fast last year with Aaron Glenn, and they've just continued and continued. And more guys stepping up. The depth has been huge with these injuries.
See, defensively, I think this game is going to be all about the defense. You know how sometimes you just need that offense to score 30 for you? I think this is one where the defense comes out and wins this game almost single-handedly.
Yeah.
And you'll get into the injuries, but defensively, they're pretty healthy. They're getting healthier, and this is an Anzalone game. This is a Isaiah Buggs game. This is a Aiden Hutchinson game. They're going to get after that quarterback, and he's going to make some mistakes. I see more than a couple turnovers in this one. I think this is one of those Lions defense shows out kind of games. I think when the headlines are written tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the defense and how great they executed, how well they played. That's where all my focus, not all of it, but that's where most of my focus is today, just on that Lions defense.
Yeah, I think the game plan to win this football game is very similar to the last two football games, at least what this team's want to do. You have a young quarterback, Desmond Ridder, Jordan Love. They want to run the football. Defense isn't performing up to its standards this year. I think the offense will be able to take advantage of it even with the injuries, which we'll get into. It's a very similar game plan. Make them one-dimensional. And funny story, Miles Sanders, which we'll get into when we get to the matchups, 2.9 yards per carry. He's not having the season everybody expected him to have. So this rush defense, I think they keep up what they've been doing. We'll go to break quickly. When we come back now, we'll go through the injury report. We'll react to who's out, who's playing, and so much more. But first, you're tuning in to the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show. We'll see you guys right after the break.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. If you could do me a favor, hit the like button on the stream. It does help the algorithm, helps the channel, helps the network. Plenty more to get to. I'm joined today, Ryan Ermani, my partner in crime for today, previewing the Lions taking on the Panthers at
baby.
home. We got the crew with us as usual. Michael Gentry, Booner from Woodward Knights as well.
Don't forget about Woodward Knights. Baby.
And then Chris Platte from the Heavyweights. We got a piece of every show in the room here, so it's very special. Very special. Let's get
Where's
to the...
Neil Rule?
Yeah, well...
Where's Neil Rule today?
Yeah, Neil Rule is something else. He is something else, man.
I gotta mess with Rule. I gotta mess with him.
Let's love that man. All right, let's get to the injury report because Chris, you have the one from Saturday, and then we have one that's kind of updated here. So here's some of the news. Lions Twitter. Lions tweeted out. Lions announced roster moves. Placed fullback Jason Kabinda on injury reserve. Activated linebacker Julian Okwara. I like Julian Okwara. From injury reserve. Activated Jamison Williams from commissioner permission exempt list. And then elevated, of course, Dylan Drummond, wide receiver, preseason. He's the fan favorite there, Dylan Drummond, to the active/inactive list. Additionally, running back Jahmyr Gibbs has been downgraded to doubtful for Sunday's game. Couple interesting things there, not just from that report, Ryan, but some things I heard as well. St. Brown doubtful with that abdomen injury. And then now you have Jahmyr Gibbs doubtful. Josh Reynolds is questionable, but expected to play. Your reaction to some of those key pieces being out for
The
Lions?
Gibbs one to me, that's right, Sheila. The Gibbs one to me is one that I guess is a little concerning just because it popped up so late in the week. I'm hearing it's a hamstring, so it obviously is something that he did in practice. We don't know the severity of it at all. But doubtful to me means out. I don't know too many guys, and Boone, you brought this up earlier. I don't know too many guys that play when you're tagged doubtful.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Actually, I decided to look it up because when Boone asked the question, I'm like, I'm curious.
I love the percentage.
I only have the data from 2015 to 2016, but just to give you like an idea of how this works, and I don't have the data for this year, but in 2015, 4 of 161 players listed doubtful played, 2.5%. In 2016, 8 of 207 played. So that's, around the same number. So again, in 2015, 2.5% of doubtful players played. So that means nada. I don't think they're playing.
That's way lower than
Questionable is way higher, obviously. Questionable,
Yeah.
you can go. But doubtful, if you get downgraded to doubtful, you're most likely out.
And the concerning part too is because the Lions just had 10 days off, so you feel like anything that was nagging somebody would get a little bit better. Even St. Brown with the toe injury that he's been nursing a little bit. Well, now it's an abdomen.
Yeah.
I think that, to me, outside of Jared Goff, the one player that this team can ill afford to lose is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Agreed.
Now, they can get away with it today against Carolina. In my opinion, they can do that. But if they lose St. Brown for any stretch, that is trouble. That spells trouble for me because he is the glue that keeps everything together offensively. Again, outside of Jared Goff, he is the most crucial piece of that offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown clears everybody out of the way, does everything, and then we'll see, as we just saw up there with Jameson Williams activated today. That's going to be big. But again, Jameson Williams, kind of playing his role with St. Brown playing his role is a much different Jameson Williams. Now, if Jameson Williams has to come up and play, the number one guy or not, I don't know. Maybe you move Josh Reynolds over or even Khalif Raymond. But we'll see what they do offensively. But I'm curious to see so many different things offensively. You want to see that speed on the field too. I mean, Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs on the field together. Speed kills in any league, if it's Pee Wee, high school, college, NFL, and the Lions' two fastest players, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams. What they could do on the field together, Jeff, would be remarkable, but it doesn't look like we will see that this week.
No, and to Ryan's point, too, about ill afford to lose Amon-Ra St. Brown, Booner, I feel the same way, and I've been making that case before the season. One of my concerns about this team, and not that the wide receiver core is bad, because they got depth, but without J-Mo for the first 6 weeks, and we talked about this, Boone, I said, if Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down, I'm worried. And I didn't know what to expect out of Laporta. He's been shining, of course, and then Jahmyr not being out makes that even worse. But what I will say, and it's unfortunate because J-Mo was supposed to be, and I think he can still be, that guy next to Amon-Ra. But the report coming out now with Jameson Williams is he's only expected to play maybe around 20 snaps.
Yeah.
So, again, in a game where Jameson's being eased back, Booner, it's not ideal. Amon-Ra St. Brown's out.
No, and like Ryan said, he's your number one, and then there's a little gap there. And obviously, Josh Reynolds has stepped up a ton this season.
Oh, unsung hero.
Yeah, especially with J-Mo out, Josh Reynolds has been a guy for us. But then when you look at that, and Khalif Raymond, he's stepped up, made big plays, did that all last year as well. But Amon-Ra he changes that offense, and if you have him and J-Mo, it just takes so much off that secondary to where it opens everything up. It takes that offense to a different level. It puts you up there with some of the best offenses in the league, which you're already sitting there at a top 10 offense right now. But it puts you up to that top 5 level that you were at last year. So if Amon-Ra, he just needs to get healthy. I think it's kind of good that he's sitting out today, just so you're able to just let him get healthy. Same with Jahmyr. Let these guys get healthy. If you get out with the win here with those guys out and they're back healthy, you have another 7 days off, and then next week you play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's ideal. That's how I'm looking at it here.
Yeah, and to Ryan's point earlier too, like this is the game you probably can afford to rest those guys. You want those guys back in December and January.
And not only that, I talked about the defense earlier. Like it feels like a defensive game, where the Lions' defense is going to stand out. This is an offensive line game too. I mean, the Lions have all these resources in the offensive line, and they have them for a reason. Because in games like this, where you just need to grind one out, just turn around and give the ball to David Montgomery 30 times.
That's a
you know
great
what
point.
I mean?
Yeah.
Just turn around and give the ball to David Montgomery 30 times, and let's see where that goes. You know, and one of the things that this offensive line has done, Jeff, Boone, the Lions on first downs, they don't get behind the chains. They just don't. They've ran 180 plays on first down this year. They have gained 4 or more yards on first down 54.6% of the time. That spells open your whole playbook.
Yeah.
If you're in 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, more than 50% of the time, your whole playbook is open to you. The things that you can do in those short yardage situations is immeasurable. I think that is one of the most underrated stats that this Lions team has given us through one quarter of football. On first downs, they win. They win first downs. 4 or more yards on first down, 54.6% of the time. That's tops in the NFL.
Can I add something to that, too?
Let him cook.
On top of the offensive line and that, Ben Johnson, you guys, that makes me feel a lot better. You have a guy like Ben Johnson when guys go down.
There. Yep.
Because he said this week that every single player has their own plays, and he just is able to draw all these different things up. So when a guy like St. Brown goes down, you have probably the best offensive coordinator in the NFL right now. I trust him to be able to go out there and figure out something for Khalif and all these different guys and kind of push that offense to keep that thing humming. Whether it's let's just go behind this offensive line with David Montgomery and let's play it that way, and then it opens different things up. So with Ben Johnson, it makes me feel that much better for today with a few guys out as well.
And this is an interesting tweet, too, just to give perspective. Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online tweeted this out, so credit to him. He says, the last time Amon-Ra St. Brown was inactive, the Lions put up 45 points against the Seahawks. Jamal Williams rushed for 108. T.J. Hawkinson had a $179. And then Josh Reynolds pitched in 81. He tweets out they can weather this storm. Good perspective. And that was against the Seahawks last year, which they also fell to. But regardless, no Amon-Ra St. Brown, this offense can still be productive. And that's the Ben Johnson effect. You have a hell of a coordinator, he'll find a way.
Yeah.
He'll find a way.
That's where I'm comfortable. I've been saying that all week with Ben Johnson, especially when he had his press conference. Very comfortable that if there's a couple guys down in this offense, he's able to kind of just revamp it and say, hey, we're going this way with it now, and still be at an elite level.
One of the best coordinators in the league. I'm not sure there's a coordinator in the NFL that I'd rather have than Ben Johnson.
I agree with that.
You know, like right now for this team where we are, I couldn't name an offensive coordinator that I would select over Ben Johnson.
Ryan, the only better or at least in the same tier offensive coordinators are head coaches. Like
no doubt.
So, like, Ben, it's only a matter of time.
Well, exactly. That's a great point, Jeff. That is a great point because, you know, the Sean McVays of the world,
right.
the Zach Taylors of the world, although I think he's on the hot seat in Cincinnati.
Andy Reid.
Cal Shanahan. There's a guy in Denver that's named Sean Payton.
Yep.
He might be getting fired.
But,
I mean, these guys, the head coaches are the ones that run the show.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I know people are chiming in. Rusty says, I really hope Montgomery beats Jamal's touchdown record this season. Jamal is a phony. Yeah, well, you don't got to insult Jamal. But, hey, it's okay. You're rooting for current Lions
He'll
players.
break it, though.
Joshua says, Detroit is ranked 5th in time of possession. I love the real long drives we're able to put together. And I do think time of possession, just like it mattered the last 2 weeks, is going to matter today. Right, if you dominating time of possession and getting after Bryce Young, not allowing him to run the football. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into more of the matchups. We'll talk about the Lions offense. Speaking of Ben Johnson, we'll talk about that Panthers D-line, the Lions wide receivers. Who do you expect to show up today? All that and more. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you guys right after the break.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Welcome back to the D-Shore Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Ryan Ermani, we got Michael Gentry in the sound booth. Booner with us in the Maz chair. That's what I like to call it. Just call it the Maz chair.
Are
you on the Maz pillows too?
I have a pillow.
Just one or two?
Just
Maz
one today.
requires two pillows.
Two every single time.
One on the back, one on the buns.
What this guy? Love Maz.
Poor
Love
guy.
Maz.
Just the back today.
Still busting his chops even when he's not here.
Jonathan, hey, by the way, you can tune into Maz post-game show. Him and Stick holding it down with Lucas and the whole crew. Chris Platte holding it down in the TD booth. I want to stick on the offense because we kind of went through Ben Johnson and talked about the injury report, but more so, who do you expect to step up today? And I think the obvious one, and we'll get to the defensive line versus the Lions' offensive line, but just for the Lions wide receivers, they have a favorable matchup, Ryan, because the #1 corner for the Panthers, J.C. Horn, he's been out. He's out for the whole entire season. So at least there's that. But the other part of it is who you expect to step up, Ryan. Because for me personally, the one guy that just seems to always be there when you need him, he's like 7-Eleven. Anytime they're open, he's always open. It's Josh Reynolds. And he did it last week against the Packers. So I think Josh Reynolds, he's in for another big game this week. But who do you have your eyes on?
Josh Reynolds has been amazing, and this team would not be 3-1 right now without Josh Reynolds.
Agreed.
Every catch he's made so far this season has been for a first down or a touchdown. It's been incredible. But would I be cheating if I told you Jameson Williams? I think he is so freaking talented and so fast that I think he is going to have a big game today, whether it's 20, 25 plays or not. Mm-hmm. I think when he's on the field, he's going to have to be accounted for. And I think he gets into the end zone more than once today, even.
Ooh, okay.
More than once, Jameson Williams gets into the end zone today. I really do. And I think, look, this kid, we've been talking about how good he is for over a year.
Yep.
We've been talking about, is this guy a bust, for half a year almost. I think he comes out today. He's healthy. He's got a new lease on life that he had a 6-game suspension whittled down to 4 games. I think he's probably going to be like, bleep it. I'm going to go out there and ball today.
Yeah.
And I think Jameson Williams, to me, is that guy that has a huge game today, gets into the end zone more than one time.
And the thing about J-Mo 2, Booners, even if he doesn't have a big game, just his presence on the field affects everybody. Now, Josh Reynolds will be the easy one out of the wide receiver core, but I'll tell you what, that rookie tight end, Sam Laporta,
That's my guy.
it's going to be a big game today for him.
That's who I have
to be.
today. Yes, that was going to be my guy that I pick out here. Who has a big game? Sam Laporta. He's had, outside of last week, he had 4 catches, 56 yards. Before that, 8 catches, 5 catches, 5 catches. He's just putting up numbers right now. Statistically wise, he's the #1 tight end in the NFL right now.
That's insane.
As a rookie. So I do believe with a guy like St. Brown out, Jahmyr Gibbs potentially out, a guy like Sam Laporta, that's Jared Goff's safety blanket today.
Right.
Usually it's St. Brown. St. Brown's always open. No, today Sam Laporta is going to be the guy that's there. He's going to be the most reliable guy, in my opinion, on that offense that Jared Goff's going to be able to look at in a third down situation. If they need a play, to me, Sam Laporta gets it done. So that's who's going to be my guy. A little look ahead. Woodward Booner bets today might have some Sam Laporta in it.
And Booner, the interesting part is you go back to last year's game against the Panthers, who had 3 touchdowns. Shane Zylstra.
Yes.
So I don't know how much that carries over to this year, new regime, but still, tight ends against the Panthers, they haven't always found success.
Another safety, I believe Xavier Woods is out as well. So I think
Even
they have
better.
two of their top safeties are. One's on IR and the other one's out for this game.
You mentioned Sam Laporta, and earlier I talked about what the Lions do on first downs with, getting 4 or more yards 54.6% of the time. Mm-hmm. Sam Laporta, he's got 22 receptions. 10 of them are on first down. They go to this guy on first down almost half the time. And it's because he's that big body. He's reliable. He catches the ball down the field. He's been tremendous for this team. Sam Laporta, as you mentioned, tied the team record for most consecutive games with 5+ receptions by a tight end. Second most receptions as a Lions rookie ever in week 2 anyway. The list of accolades that this guy has is incredible, and he's just getting started.
And real quick too with that, in the NFL too, yards after catch, he's second in tight ends ever, this year so far, yards after catch. He doesn't just get open and catch the ball and just he goes out there and he makes plays. He's a playmaker as well, which for a tight end, that's like a Travis Kelce who goes out there and is a playmaker. A George Kittle, playmaker. He's a playmaker. He's second in the league in tight end yards after catch. That's insane.
Yeah, to say he's a possession tight end is disrespectful.
Yes.
He's not a possession tight end. He's a playmaker. He's essentially an extension of a wide receiver. He's just bigger. And even in the run game, I mean, there's been some things he's had to clean up, but regardless, Sam Laporta as a tight end, one of the hardest positions to walk into the league and just be good at. Even the best tight ends in the league took 1 to 2 years to get there. Sam Laporta is already first in the NFL in receiving yards for tight ends. That's ridiculous.
And not only that, most receiving yards by a tight end through 4 games in NFL history. You know who he topped for that?
Mike Ditka?
Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In 2010, Aaron Hernandez. Most receptions by tight end through 4 games in NFL history. Back in 1988, Keith Jackson, the football player, not the announcer. So, I mean, the list that this guy is on is tremendous. And Aaron Hernandez notwithstanding, Aaron Hernandez was a damn good football player.
Early on in his career, absolutely.
So, my goodness, he's just well on his way.
And I believe Sam Laporta he's first in receptions through his first 4 games of tight ends too.
No doubt, yes.
So it's receptions, it's receiving yards. I mean, I think, and I don't want to give away too much, Booner, but he's meant for the end zone today. He's meant for the pay dirt.
There might be a Booner best bet with Sam Laporta. I'll just throw that out there real quick too. Lions PR tweeted out this week, among all NFL tight ends this year, Lions tight end Sam Laporta. This is all of the NFL.
Talk to me.
First in receiving yards, 242. First in receiving yards after contact, 64. Second in yards after catch. Second in receiving first downs. Third in receptions, and third in longest reception. He is top 3 in almost every single category for tight ends right now in the NFL.
Let him cook.
Rookie, he's probably a top 5 tight end in the NFL right now as a rookie, which is absurd.
And by the way, I'm just getting to some of these comments. Ryan's reaction says Jeff Monty and more Monty. If people are looking for Monty, he's going to be leaned on once again. I mean, I could see another 25 to 30 carry game for him. And that's the guy that can withstand that type of workload.
Yep.
He's shown it. Robert says, watch Lions or Seahawks at Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers off of the North Scottsdale Road a couple weeks ago. Shout out to you, Robert. Mike G says, Booner in the Maz chair is dope. Let's go. Booner getting love. Joshua says, Jeff, probably Craig Reynolds. Is that also confirmed? Not sure about that. Who's coming in for Jahmyr Gibbs, getting a little bit of touches there?
I'm not confirmed, but in the sports book, Craig
or
Reynolds is the second. Let's just say touchdowns. He was the second running back there. So Zonovan was down a little. My guess is Craig, they think Craig Reynolds is going to be that next guy up.
All right, we'll head to break here. When we get back, we'll talk more about this Lions defense, and we'll talk about what they need to do to make Bryce Young have a bad day. We'll discuss all that and more. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you guys in a couple minutes.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
back to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Again, Lions taking on the Panthers today at home. You're joined Jeff Iafrate, Ryan Ermani, BMG, Booner, and Chris Platte, all with you.
Dude, I'm having so much fun with you cats today. I mean, getting ready for a little Lions football. This is so fun, isn't it? I mean, talking about a good football team. How many times have we done this over the years where the team just sucked? You're just miserable coming in every day. Talk about another Lions loss. Oh, let's see if they can keep it within 2 touchdowns today. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is fun. I do want to make one correction. Earlier, I said that the Lions had held their opponent to 20 or under in 12 of the last 16. It's actually 9 of the last 14. So I just wanted to make that correction.
And speaking of that, we'll talk more about that defense, too, because I've had the question asked to me, and I want to discuss it, too. Lions' #1 run defense in the NFL. And is it sustainable? I think being one of the better teams against the run, yes. Being #1, we'll see. That's quite the impressive stat, at least for a defense that was one of the worst last year. Turned it around in the second half. But the question I have for the people, and we'll get to how to ruin Bryce Young's day later, but Ryan, this is an offense for the Panthers that's just simply put inept. Like, they have not scored over 20 with Bryce Young. Of course, something's got to give eventually. I don't think it's against the Detroit Lions, but I'll tell you one thing. They want to run the football, and their biggest free agency acquisition, Miles Sanders, has not been doing that well. I think it's a matchup made for heaven for the Lions.
No doubt. And, you mentioned Miles Sanders. Look, conversely, we talk about the Lions' offense on first down, the Lions' defense on first down. You ready for this one? We all know they've allowed 243 yards rushing, right? That is an NFL best. 80 times this year on first downs, they have faced a first down 80 times. Only 27 of those have gone for 4 or more yards on the ground. That is tops in the NFL. You cannot run the football against these guys. And who would have thunk it? Right? I mean, last year, they were 29th in the league in rush defense. Last year alone, Carolina rushed for 320 yards on the ground in 1 game. This year, through 4 games, the Lions have allowed 243 yards, and they don't give up anything on first down. That's tops in the league as well.
Yeah, and you talk about, too, who they faced, Booner. I mean, you go through week 1, Pacheco. Week 2, Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
Week 3, Bijan and Algier. People would call them the best backfield in the NFL.
Pacheco / Mahomes.
Yeah, right.
And Mahomes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Mahomes led their team in rushing. It's a great point. And then you get to now. Booner, I think Miles Sanders' name, right, last year had over 1,000 yards, but this year not having the greatest year. And again, this is a team that wants to run the football. You got a rookie quarterback. I think this is a great matchup for the Lions' defensive line. I do.
Yeah, and I know Miles Sanders last year, we played him with the Eagles. That's the big, to me, the big key is you played him with the Eagles, and that offensive line we all know is probably the best in the NFL.
Different, yes.
So you get Miles Sanders behind this Panthers offensive line, completely different. But a point that I've been talking about this week was the Lions the last 2 weeks, total yards. Last week versus the Packers, 230 total yards they gave up. Week before, Atlanta, 183 total yards. They're able to go out there and dominate right now. In my opinion, I think they go out there, you hold this Panthers team to under 250 total yards, you win this game by multiple scores. And I think this team, this defense seems like Aaron Glenn's had them in that position to do that. And I mean, even versus Seattle, you can see. I don't know how many yards they gave up, but there was times where they were getting, like last year, that Seattle game, they weren't getting stops, and when they needed it, there were times where they were getting stops. The Kansas City game, they got to stop to win the game.
Right.
So this defense, when they're put in those positions, they've been able to get the job done compared to the past, which gives me faith. And then just looking at the last 2 weeks, 230 yards and 183 yards. The defense right now is just playing at a different level. And if they can continue that this week and just continuously to build each week off that, it's scary.
Yeah, and even that Panthers offensive line, like, not great either. I mean, they have, like, some guys, but Chandler Zavala and Sam Flannel went through the PFF stats, and he has one of the worst pass blocking grades in the entire NFL, which is a true stat. There was no lying there.
Do you know how I know they did? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
you know how I know that sports books even know that this is going to be a bloodbath, I think, with sacks? Is every single week this year, they've had the Lions 5+ sacks plus 1,800. They didn't even put that prop up yet this year. They're not going to put it up. I think the Lions go out there and get 6-7 sacks again today versus Bryce Young.
Well, that would be on brand, right? I mean, you have Bryce Young, who in 3 games, only played 3, has had 7 sacks taken for him. So again, this is a guy that he's around 2 to 3 sacks a game, and they gave up 5 sacks against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings and that defensive line, or the lack thereof, they still got 5 sacks, Ryan. And you have this Lions defensive line now taking on the Panthers offensive line.
And I think most of us consider the Lions defensive line to be one of the weaker units on the team this year. And I think they've been pretty damn good.
Right.
Not only that, but, Aiden Hutchinson is a guy that's going to get most of the stats. He gets the quarterback pressures. He gets the sack yards. But Ali McNeil has been so good up front this year.
Good.
It's almost like we say football is not a one-man sport. It takes Ali McNeil to do his job for Aiden Hutchinson to be able to do his. When Ali McNeil is doing his job, Aiden Hutchinson and everybody else can do theirs. And he has been so underrated this year, Ali McNeil. I think what he's doing has been tremendous. And it might not show up in the stat sheet for him, but it's showing up in the stat sheet for other players like Aiden Hutchinson. And I think Dan Campbell pointed that out this week too, just how good Ali McNeil has been this season. And I can't say enough good things about him. Ali McNeil. He's been tremendous.
And you know what? Funny, I want to stick on Ali McNeil because I'm glad you brought him up. Before, I want to correct something here. In terms of sacks, he's taken 11 sacks in 3 games, not 7. 11 sacks, even worse for Bryce Young. And to speak on Ali McNeil, Booner, we had a conversation about Aiden Hutchinson. And I want to clarify what I meant here, okay? And there was a miscommunication. But for me with Aiden, Aiden's a terrific player. I think he's getting to be in that tier 1 of edge rushers. But for me, this is a team sport. You needed somebody else to step up. Like Aiden, through the first couple games, was getting pressures, couldn't finish, couldn't get sacks. And he had to get sacks, of course. But it helps when now the arrival of Ali McNeil, the arrival of a John Kaminsky who's been showing up, Benito Jones had got a sack, and so on and so forth. And Aaron Glenn making adjustments, lining some linebackers up on the edges. All that, with this defensive line now firing away, Aiden's gotten better because of it. Not saying Aleem has to carry Aiden to the quarterback, but it helps when Aiden has help. And I'm glad Aleem Neal's showing up because he's a terrific player.
Yeah, and I know that was a big thing that we had this last week we were talking about. There was a huge miscommunication on that, where you, and even Flannel said something to you about, hey, Max Crosby, these guys. To me, it's just, hey, these other guys on the team right now,
gotta step up.
Those are the guys that have to step up, because you're not guaranteed to go out there and get a Max Crosby or any of these guys out there right now. You're not guaranteed that. So all of these guys, Charles Harris, Benito Jones, like
Isaiah Buggs, when he got
Isaiah
back.
Buggs,
Yep.
guys have to step up.
Buggs.
I love
baby.
Buggs. I wish he was there week 1, week 2. But these guys do have to step up, which we've seen the last 2 weeks. These guys have stepped up, and they've shown that they can be a complementary piece to Aiden Hutchinson. They just have to build on it, and they have to show it can consistently happen. Especially guys like Charles Harris and Aleem McNeil and Bug. Those guys have John Kaminsky. He was a little slow start this year. It seemed like everyone started a little slow. Now they're getting into that groove there, and they just have to build off that and continue.
And people chiming in here. Mike G says, Aiden just needed a year to get stronger and smarter. He was out of position in year 1, and no more he is not. And that's a great point, also brought up by Ryan, because it seems like this defensive line just trusts each other now. It takes a year now under Aaron Glenn's system, and everything's starting to click.
Did you guys see earlier this week, we played it on Woodward Nights, but Aiden Hutchinson came out in the locker room and basically spoke about them giving him the freedom on the defensive line, not just being on one side of the ball.
Right.
They gave him the freedom. Hey, if you want to go inside, if you want to go outside, and you guys saw it last week to where he was literally mid or pre-snap running around trying to pick his spot where he wanted to go. And he mentioned, I'm going to find the weakest link on this offensive line, and that's where I'm going to go. And he's been doing that, and there's been success. You see guys like Myles Garrett doing that.
I was just going to say that.
So he's gotten to that level to where Aaron Glenn, hey, I trust you, go out there and do that, and he's just running on the line, picking his spots.
And what about the next level, too? I mean, remember Hard Knocks last year when I think it was Kelvin Shepard, the linebackers coach for the Detroit Lions, came in the room and basically said that Alex Anzalone wasn't going to play in the preseason because he's already earned a spot on the roster. And you could see Anzalone kind of be like so relieved, because there was a question as to whether or not last year he was going to make the team. He's gone from that to being like this crazy leader of the defense. He has been so good for the Detroit Lions this year. And since he's been here, really, one of 2 players in the NFL with 225 tackles, 15 passes defensed, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions since 2021. The last 2+ years, he has been flat out tremendous.
Yep.
And he doesn't get enough credit. And again, it goes back to that D-line. Alex Anzalone can roam around if he's got the freedom to do that, because the guys up front are doing their jobs. So the stats show up for Anzalone when everybody up front in front of him is doing their job. I just think this thing is going as well as it could for this Lions defense. Every level has been really damn good, I'm telling you.
Yeah, to speak on more of Ryan's point with Anzalone, talking about guys trusting each other, it allows guys to just react, not think. Just react and go play. And Anzalone's showing that this year. He's having a hell of a year. Let's go to break. When we get back here, we'll get to Booner's bets. And listen, even for me, Boone, who's I'm on a losing streak, I'm going to need something. I know the people need it too.
We've got a few things.
Maz had a lock today.
Really?
And it's looking good so far. Maz's lock of the day was Jacksonville.
So money line?
Yeah, to cover.
Spread cover?
Yeah,
They're up 11-0 after the first quarter.
That's my my AFC Championship game.
That makes me nervous because I had the Bills too.
I need Jags to that AFC Championship game, man. And they got my MVP, Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see how that ages. But let's go to break here. When we get back, of course, we'll get to Booner's Bets. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
What up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, man. Look, and we're down at the Lions VIP tailgate by the Bullseye Event Group. And you guys know I had to check in with my man, DJ Don Mecca. You guys hear the tunes, man. He's getting this place turned up for a big Lions victory, man. How you feeling today?
I feel great as always. I feel like the Lions is going to win this game. I'm always getting the hype here for the Bullseye Event Group. Come check us out each and every home game, every Sunday. With your man, DJ Don Mecca. We got Woodward Sports in the building as always. And we're going to have a great time, man. Just keeping the music hype.
Yeah, and you're doing this. It's going to be over 1,000 people that make their way in here. This is a bunch of people tailgating around us. It's festive, man. People are pumped and they are ready. Detroit does football right, man. And it's so good to see the Lions kind of on the prowl right now. I do got to ask you, my brother, who's winning this game tonight? Or today?
You know I got to go with the Lions. I think... with our defensive line has solidified themselves as one of the elite. They provide a lot of pressure on the line, and I think they're going to rely a lot on the quarterback at Carolina, and I think we're going to shut that down. I got to go with the Lions, man. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Hey, look, blow them out. Blow them out, man. Carolina Panthers, they got us last year, not this year, man. They ain't going to have the people.
We got to get them back for last year. I remember that.
We got to
get them back for last year. This is a revenge game. You know what I mean?
Talk your talk.
We biting off kneecaps today, baby.
Let's get hype, man. You guys already know, man. Down here at Easter Market at the VIP, the Lions VIP tailgate by Bullseye Event Group. Gonna send it back to you all.
Thanks for having me, Detroit Kool-Aid. Once again, the Bullseye Event Group, Detroit Lions tailgate, Woodward Sports. Let's get it.
Thank you, Brandon. Look at that, checking in live from over there at Shed 5 in Eastern Market, hanging out with DJ Don Meckel, the man, the myth, the legend. We're back to Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Ryan Ermani, and the entire crew with us. You know what time it is.
You know what time it is.
Check the time. It's Booner's best.
Let's
Booner,
go.
What do you got for us? Talk to me.
Come on, Boone.
I've got a few things for you guys here. I want to make sure I just want to preface something here real quick.
Okay.
I've been hitting on touchdown props the last few weeks since the season started. First touchdown props, I've been hitting on. I'm 3 for 3 in those.
You've been cooking.
And everyone keeps asking me, Booner, when are you doing another one? When are you doing another one? It has to come to me, guys. I can't
You gotta
just
feel it.
I have to have a
Just
feeling.
doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Yes. I love that.
Namaste.
Come on, Boone.
Namaste.
That's what it is. It has to. Once it hits
Yep.
me, and it might hit me before the game day today. But I don't have a first touchdown bet here today. But I prefaced it a little bit, and I kind of looked ahead a little bit earlier in the show.
No J-Mo first touchdown?
I might.
First play of the game, he's going to streak down
If that happens,
60
Ryan,
plus yards.
Now Ryan might have to do Ryan's
Oh,
bets.
man, are you kidding me?
if that happens, man, we're gonna shut the stream down right away.
J-Mo is getting that first one today.
If
I'm
you-
I
telling
can't
you.
wait.
I'm gonna look at the number on that. I'm gonna see what that, because now you're starting to get me a little
I'm
bit.
telling you, J-Mo first touchdown today.
Oh man,
Lights, it's not even a question.
this is making me nervous in my
This got
gut
you
right here.
thinking.
Usually it has to come. I don't know, guys, but Sam Laporta.
Florida.
Sam Laporta, Ryan.
What about him?
Sam Laporta's the man today. He's about to have a career game.
Okay.
Amon-Ra St. Brown out. Jameer Gibbs out. Well, not officially, but most likely out.
Yep.
This is a Sam Laporta game. He is the safety blanket for Jared Goff when it comes down to it. It's usually St. Brown. Today it's Sam Laporta. I have today 3 Sam Laporta props, and all 3 will hit. Sam Laporta touchdown, plus 160.
Okay.
Sam Laporta over 54.5 yards. Sam Laporta over 5.5 catches, plus 114. All 3 hit.
Ooh.
Not a parlay, guys, as well.
Separate.
I want people to know, when I give out these picks, we don't parlay them all together. Separate, please.
So you're on Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, and he hits every single one of these props. I can almost guarantee it. Not financial advice. I'm not a pro at all.
Don't say that. You're Booner.
I'm
Come on.
Booner. I don't lose, but I can guarantee you those 3 will hit. Another one here I really like, fellas.
Okay.
I want you guys' opinion on this. David Montgomery, 2 touchdowns,
Ooh.
plus 210.
Hold on. Let me get my
wow.
stats on
Two
Montgomery.
David
touchdowns.
Montgomery, 2. It just screams. You guys remember last year when Jamal Williams would get multiple touchdown games? It feels like one of those games today. Like guys are out. You don't have your top receivers. It seems like, obviously, I already called the Sam Laporta touchdown, which will happen on top of it.
Right.
But when you're in that goal line set, even if you're at the 9, they're giving David Montgomery the ball 3 straight times, no matter what.
Yeah. He's got 5 in 3 games.
And if they get in the goal line twice, he gets 2 touchdowns automatically. If they just get within the 10, he gets that touchdown automatically. He has been that good. Offensive line has been that good, and the offense has been getting down to that part of the field.
How many points do you think the Lions are going to score today?
34.
Okay, so then, so then you're going Laporta touchdown. You're going
2 Monty touchdowns.
2 Monty touchdowns, so that's 21. I think J-Mo gets in first touchdown, so that's 28.
There you go. Book it.
I have to look and see what that is, actually.
And I think maybe the defense gets one today too.
That would be a pick 6 or a
I
fumble
can
from
see
Hutch.
it.
That would be something else as well.
What about this, Boone? Don Beats chiming in. Josh Reynolds, anytime touchdown score, plus 210.
That's a
friendly line
That's a
for Josh
value.
Reynolds.
That's a value play as well. Yeah, if you're starting
Yep.
to look at the 200s there, that's just all value. You want to go there with that.
The people are loving it. Booner, Paul Thomas says, Booner, you're more of an expert handicapper than Cats.
Oh, I'll take that.
And people talking about Monty first touchdown score. People feeling confident with that one,
The
too.
only thing with that is, like, I stay away from that. He's plus 280, and then the next guy is Sam Laporta at plus 800. That is a massive gap when you're looking at it. And if you're betting first touchdown, you can't get a first touchdown plus 2. I won't do it.
That's fair.
I'll wait till the next week to get it.
That's fair. All right, Booner. You got anything NFL-wise?
I do have a couple of NFL. I do want to give out a parlay for the game here. If you guys are watching the stream, if you guys are hanging out, make sure you guys do 1 o'clock. We'll have the stream here. Me and Gentry have a parlay going on, which we will make sure the rest of the guys at the studio are on. Khalif Raymond, 40 receiving yards. Sam Laporta, 5 receptions, David Montgomery, 60 yards. And this is a Gentry one here. Hayden Hurst, over 19.5 receiving yards. It's a tight end, for the Panthers. Seems like tight ends usually kind of get off a little bit on us. But that's plus 775. Again, that's Raymond, 40. Hurst, 19.5. Laporta, 5. And David Montgomery, 60 yards. Plus 775.
David Montgomery, 60 yards?
60 yards. That's not. It's moved the line down a little bit, but that seems like a lock as well.
That seems low.
Oh, my God.
His actual line is 82, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, then he's clearing 60.
Me and Gentry moved it down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't blame. I mean, he's getting, what, 25 at least 25 carries?
You would think so.
And he's getting, let's say he gets 3 yards a carry. 75 yards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even if he gets 3 yards a carry, he's going to hit that. He's going to hit that.
I have a couple NFL plays if you guys want that. I don't want to keep going here.
Yeah, we got time. Boone, it's your segment.
Come on, Boone.
I've got a segment on the show.
This is why I'm here.
Let's go.
This is why I'm here,
The
Boone.
people want it, Boone.
All right.
Oh, man.
To preface this too as well, I did pick the Bills minus 5.5 on Friday on the 8 to 10 show.
You should have just said that you changed your mind on that.
Yeah. Well, now I did. I'll say I changed my mind now. Everyone take the Jags. But my 3 plays here. Saints money line versus the Patriots. Love that. Patriots, I don't know what's happening there. Mac Jones might not be the quarterback at the end of the day. So I'm going Derek Carr and the Saints money line.
Saints over the Patriots in New England.
That play right now,
Gillette.
Ryan, it is a mess in New England right now. I think Patriots fans would admit that it is a mess in New England right now.
Okay.
Mac Jones. I saw a tweet this morning that said Mac Jones is not going to be the starter after long.
There's
He is
something
on
going
his
on
way
there
out.
that's fishy, that's for sure.
So I don't know if Bailey's that. I don't know what's happening. When I see that, even on the road, taking the Saints. Next one, at home, the Los Angeles Rams plus 4.5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
I know it's the Eagles, but the Rams, Cooper Kupp's back today.
Yep.
I'm taking the Rams plus 4 at home. Ryan says it. Home dog. Take the home dog. Rams plus 4.5 at home versus the Eagles.
Dude, I like that play.
I love it.
I think Philly's ripe for a loss, and the Rams were one of my surprise teams to go and get to a playoff this year. Because if you look at the NFC, there's not a ton of great teams in the NFC.
Right.
This thing is wide open for somebody like the Rams to get that 7th seed for a wild card. I think Philly is ripe for a loss. I think the Rams are a surprise team in the NFC this year. I think this thing, I like that play, Boone.
Thank you. The last one. Another, not a home dog, but a home Broncos at home versus the Jets. Broncos win the game today. They need to get something going. It's minus 138. I'm taking Broncos money line. And that's Neil's get right, actually, is Broncos minus 2.5.
He's with the Broncos.
Yeah, he
at
is.
least, the spread. Okay, that's fair. I thought he did
minus 2.5, so he
Yeah.
thinks they're winning by 3 at least.
Okay, well, then there you go.
You want me to give you one?
I would love one.
Ooh.
Cowboys going to win in San Fran tonight.
Sunday night.
They're going to win the game outright. They're
There
going to
you
win
go.
the game
I'll
outright.
take that. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
take it. I like that.
Book it.
There you go. Dallas. That's going to be a great game to tune into. Let's head the break here. There you go. Booner's bets. Booner cooking up some bets for us.
Way to
Appreciate
go,
you, Booner.
Boone.
Thank you, guys.
When we get back, we'll talk more about J-Mo. What are our expectations? We kind of know some of Ryan's, but we'll get to me and Boone's for J-Mo. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you guys right after the break.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry. I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want want to miss it. Join Maz, Dick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Welcome back. It's the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I appreciate you guys for joining the show. Don't forget, you know what helps us?
Hold on here, man. I got to get Boone's bets in. Oh, Boone is lights out.
Ryan wants free money, baby. Free money.
Ryan, I did look at it. Jameson Williams first touchdown plus 1,900.
Wow.
Jameson Williams anytime touchdown plus 430. So
Big deal.
I might do it.
J-Mo, baby.
For the Bucks.
I may do it. Announcement coming later.
There you go. And we just got through Booner's bets. If you missed it, you can rewind, go listen. For everybody joining in now in the YouTube chat, don't forget if you like the stream, it does support the channel. It supports the show and it supports us. And subscribe if you haven't already. We're 200 away from 52,000 subscribers, so that's big time. Plenty more to get to with J-Mo, because Ryan, we know how he feels. First touchdown score, book him for the end zone.
First play of the game. First play of the game.
Take a shot.
There you go. No, without J.C. Horn, I don't think Ryan's crazy. I don't. Now, here's the thing, though, with J-Mo. And I said it
crazy?
Never. But the thing with J-Mo, though, interesting enough, he's only going to play around 20-ish snaps, which is plenty of snaps to get a touchdown, to Ryan's point. But expectations for him, Boone, and I'll let you kind of speak on this because me and Ryan already kind of gave our thoughts. For me, at least, I just want to see J-Mo kind of start to earn more trust for Jared. And Jared's shown that. He's got to trust somebody to get him the football. And J-Mo, I don't want to come at his hands or anything like that. I know Dan kind of mentioned it. He might never have the hands, and he may never have elite hands like Amon-Ra St. Brown. But for me, it's just earning trust.
Yeah.
If J-Mo can just prove to Jared, hey, if you throw me the football, I will come down with it. You can trust me. And that will be built, that rapport will be built through the season. I think today's just a starting point. I don't need to see a big game out of J-Mo, but I got to see flashes, Booner. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think we all want to. Obviously, it's coming back a little earlier than expected, so which is a good thing, right? 2 games before. But even when I had the same thought when he does come back, say it was week 7, there was going to be that period where, hey, we're working you in and we're going to get a feel for it. Jared Goff did say this week, though, someone asked him about this, like, do you guys have that rapport already? Hey, they had training camp together, too. He was at training camp. So they've already had a little bit of a feel for each other. That he played last year in practice, but last year he didn't do training camp. Training camp was full speed. They were going at it. So he had that with Jared Goff at practice, in the joint practices. My expectations for him today, the 20 snaps, I would like to see something out of him. The biggest thing to me is I think the number one thing this week is he will be a decoy for a lot of different sets, especially with different guys. I said it this week. I think I'm guaranteeing you're going to see some sort of double reverse or something with J-Mo and Khalif, someone involved in that, just because J-Mo, they're going to be right locked in on him. And that's where I'm kind of looking at with
that Khalif Raymond play last week with a little end around. If that was J-Mo, he would have took that thing to the house. That's just facts.
It's been about 7 weeks since we even know what J-Mo looks like. 4 weeks of the season, and then the last 2.5, 3 weeks, he was hurt, so he couldn't participate anyway.
Right.
I just want to, and Dan Campbell alluded to this week, I just want to make sure the guy knows the plays.
Right.
Knows where to line up. Knows what the audibles are. Knows where to be. Knows exactly what his route is. Because those Alabama guys, if there's one thing those Alabama guys do, they run crisp routes. They're perfect route runners. You could go to Amari Cooper. You could go to Julio Jones. Each and every guy that comes out of Alabama runs perfect routes. I want to see J-Mo do that. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen him in 7 weeks. And really, the 3 weeks that we saw him in training camp was, outside of a play or two last year, was the only time that we got a chance to see J-Mo.
Right. And at least for me with J-Mo, you get a big sample size. You get 12 games with J-Mo. That's plenty of time for him to show something. And that's the line I got to draw here with J-Mo is one half, I'm okay being patient this game. He's playing 20 snaps. But on the other half, you're also the 12th overall pick,
Yep.
and you're one of the you were one of the among the first wide receivers taken. You talk about Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson; those are damn good players. And Jamo's going to be compared to them for the rest of his career. So part of it, Booner, I'm willing to be patient. You want to see him worked in, like Ryan said, show he belongs. But then the other part of it is, all right, man, like let's see it.
And to me too, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong on this. To me, Jamo might have the highest ceiling on this football team.
I agree with
without
that. Yes,
question.
absolutely.
So if he goes out there
Without
today,
question.
and that's what I'm not expecting that today, but I'm expecting to see flashes of that within those 20 snaps. I want to see a couple flashes that, hey, you can be on that Tyreek Hill, that level of play, and then eventually work your way into that there when Amon-Ra's back and everything starts to open up more. I do want to see, like you said, Jeff, I want to see flashes of that today in spurts. I want to see something.
Silent Service says, don't put too much on Jamo today at all. I know people...
I'm only putting 8 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns on him.
Fair.
That's all I'm putting on him.
That's fair. That's fair.
Those are fair expectations.
Let's see here. People chiming in. Dorian says, plus, Jamo was in Cali with Goff and St. Brown over the summer. And there's no doubt those guys have had time to build rapport off the field throwing the football. But I'm talking live in-game action when opposing defenses are game planning for you.
They didn't even play preseason together. Jared Goff was out and he was playing preseason.
So that's my...
Do those joint practices, though? Those joint practices were, I mean, now it's almost as if the joint practice is more important than the actual preseason game
and I agree with
alone.
And I agree with that. And to the Lions' credit, they played 2 preseason, or at least joint practices before preseason. One against the Jags, and the other was against... I'm blanking, but somebody else. They played 2.
The Giants.
Yeah,
Giants, that's
yes,
right.
Thank
Yep.
you, Booner. They played 2. I think one of them, out of all the teams that did joint practices, they did the most.
Boone had the Lions -2 for 2 days in the joint practices.
And they hit.
Boone found a line on that.
Oh, yeah. and it hit Ryan.
There you go.
By a lot.
And by the way, just real quick, interesting enough, St. Brown just pulled up the Royal Oak Roast. For people that don't, I think Jesse just told me that. So shout out to Royal Oak Roast in Birmingham.
I thought you were about to say here.
No,
I was
not
about
this.
to just get off air and
But
go over.
shout out to Jesse for that.
Look at that.
I know Booner's like.
I've been trying to speak with Amon-Ra St. Brown for about 2 months now.
Tell him about your Booner.
There's a rumor that Amon-Ra St. Brown knows Booner. He knows Booner's name.
He knows.
He just doesn't have a face to the name yet.
Well, dude, you're a psycho after Lions wins with all the freaking Kool-Aid and all that. Dude, I've never seen anything like it.
Every win, we're gonna keep those
Freaking
going.
psycho. I love it.
I love it.
I need some more Boone in my life, man. This guy, that shirt by the end of the game, that sweatshirt's going to be soaked in Lions Kool-Aid.
I haven't worn it since last week because I had to wash it.
Yeah, did you? So it's still from last week. You still have the shirt?
It's in my car. I forgot to
it.
wash it. It's in my car. I washed the sweatshirt. The thing is superstitious. I have to wear the same stuff for the game. So I'm gonna have to go back and go get it, and I'm gonna have to wear a shirt that was Kool-Aid last week.
Oh my God, I love it.
Because
you're my guy, Boone. You're
Hey,
my guy,
love you
buddy.
guys.
You have superstition, right? You're
I'll
the guy.
change a shirt if we lose. I'll switch it up a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I love it.
I've got a shirt that's 2 sizes too small on me under here.
Mike G says
won.
Amon-Ra knows Booner don't lose.
Yeah, a lot of people know that now. He does not lose. And so at least for Jamo, before we go to break here, I'll give like a little stat prediction what I think is going to happen quickly. I think for me, if Jamo has to, and I believe he has to, you got to give him I would say 3 to 5 targets this game at the minimum.
Oh,
you gotta get this man involved. I don't want to see a 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards. If I see that, I'll be pretty upset. For Jamo, I expect I'll say 2 to 3 catches, 40 to 50 yards, and I'll go TD with Ryan. I think he gets free for 1. But I don't know. But hey, if he gets over 100, that's a whole other story.
Not only one, it's going to be the first one.
There you go.
They're going to dial it up for him.
What about you, Booner? What do you expect out of
baby.
Jamo?
Yeah, I mean, probably the same thing. We talked about on Woodward Nights this week. We set our own line at 2.5 receptions, and I took the over. I think he gets 3 to 4 catches, and probably if he breaks one off, he could have an 80-yard day. And I do think he gets a couple rushes. So I do think you see him. He might have 30, 40 rushing yards. Like that Deebo Samuel kind of end around, get him the ball, and he just takes like the Khalif Raymond one that last week.
I mean, you saw last year. I forgot what game specifically it was, but for Jamo, he had a touch in the run game, and he had like a 40-yard gain. So that's a guy that you do want to utilize, kind of how you utilize Khalif Raymond. He can do a lot of those things.
Can I give you guys one more line here?
Yeah, talk to me.
it might make you guys a little upset, but Jameson Williams over under 18.5 receiving yards.
Oh my
Get out.
gosh!
That is
Smash
his
the
line.
over. I can get that on one
What is
catch.
that, like minus 400?
It's basically even minus 110.
Wow.
He can get that in one catch, Booner.
That is unbelievable. I think I probably will take that. Can we add that to my list, please?
You're adding it right now,
Thank you.
officially. Booner bets. You're adding
Over
that.
18.5.
All right, over 18.5. You heard him. Let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll talk more about the game itself, and we'll get into which player offensively and defensively you think needs to make the biggest impact today. And we'll talk more about that, especially with the injuries. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll see you guys right after the break.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
What up, though, people, man? We are at Eastern Park in downtown Detroit, getting ready for the Lions to maul the Panthers. Lucas, man, I am pumped up, brother. But we got to get into this Lucas looks because he knows ball, man.
The ball knower.
How you feeling about this game today?
Looks like there's going to be no Amon-Ra St. Brown, no Jahmyr Gibbs. You can go down the injury list. But I am still not worried. I'm still not worried.
Okay.
The fact that we are playing the Carolina Panthers makes me not nervous. The fact that David Montgomery had 32 carries and 3 touchdowns last week does not make me nervous. The fact that we can still utilize David Montgomery and this defense, Kirby Joseph, it looks like he's coming back. No Brian Branch, but you'll take Kirby Joseph all day of the week coming back from injury.
I like that, man. And look, you know what? You made me much more comfortable. Like, I already felt like we were going to win. Let's blow them out. But the how is going to happen, I like that you brought up David Montgomery.
Oh.
It was such a great signing in the offseason, man. Tell me a little bit about what you think we're going to see out of David Montgomery today.
I think it has to. It has to be a lot like we saw against Green Bay last week. Jameson Williams is back, but he only is going to have like a 20 snap count, so he's not going to be on the field that much. Josh Reynolds a little banged up, so they're going to be leaning on Sam Laporta and Khalif Raymond in the receiving game. I'm not saying that I'm against that, but when you have this offensive line and David Montgomery, you lean on that as much as you can. I think that I'm not worried about the defense at all. I'm not even going to bring up the defense because I think they're going to handle their job. Defense is good. Aaron Glenn's defense is going to be Aaron Glenn's defense today. I have no doubt about that. What it comes down to is after they stop Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, just putting any points on the board. If you can put up 20 points against this Carolina Panthers team, you win. And I think they could do that easily, even with all the injuries.
So you're looking for the Lions potentially be a little less aggressive on 4th downs, especially if they're in field goal range. Get the points on the board, get your defense back on the field, get the ball back to your offense.
It's just simplify the game for everybody. You can't do all those gadget plays this week. You have your star wide receiver out. So do what you do best. Just stay fundamental and just stay to your culture and what you do best. Just know your identity. That's all it comes down to.
I like that, man. So look, I know you already kind of probably said it, but let me know who your player of the game is or your player of focus, and let me know who your X factor is.
My player of the game, I think, simply has to be David Montgomery. That's the guy that you have to watch. X factor, I just brought him up. Kirby Joseph. You know what? I'm going to change it. Cam Sutton. Bryce Young, I think the Lions rush defense is #1 in the league. Bryce Young is going to have to sit back there. If Cam Sutton can contain the run on the outside with the running backs and then even the quick screen games, I think that's what does it for us. I think Cam Sutton X factor today.
And one more question before I let you go, man, before we get back to the studio. Sam Laporta, man. Sam Lagoda.
Filthy.
I saw they set his over-under right now at 55 yards. Man,
Disrespectful.
For this game.
No. Hey, that's what he does when he has Amon-Ra St. Brown on the field with him. What the fuck are we doing here? Sam Laporta, I'm saying he has around 6 catches, 80 yards, and a tutty today. I think it'd be very similar to what we saw against Atlanta. Ryan. So Jeff and Ryan, back to you.
Back to you all.
Love it. We're back. It's the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to Brandon and Lucas over there at Shed 5 at Eastern Market checking in with us live.
Looks like a great scene out there.
Yeah, packed. And that's the thing that's most impressive, Ryan. It feels just as packed as opening day for the Lions.
Look,
fans are down there.
And honestly, the Lions, if you look at the Lions' schedule, okay, they have 6 home games left. Panthers, Raiders on Monday night. Bears always a big one. Packers on Thanksgiving. The Broncos in December. And then they end with Minnesota in the final Sunday of the season. If you had to rank home games, this would be the 6th one, right? You know,
that's a great point.
So for everybody to be in full effect at the pregame Eastern Market out there at Bullseye Event Group and Long Drink, and then the crowd at Ford Field today I'm sure it'll be loud again, obviously. But if you had to rank the 6 home games left, this would be the 6th one, I would think.
No, actually, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. And again, you do not want to fall to 1-2 at home. I think that's another big point, too. This is a team that's been really good at home. They were great last year. And only had 1 loss at home, I believe, last year. So regardless, at least for this football team, guys, and we'll get more into it, and this is an interesting stat I just found. NFC North leading Lions, they lead alone for the first time since 2017. And they host the winless Panthers. So a lot of expectations. You got a winless Panthers team with a rookie quarterback. And I'm going to stay consistent with what I believe. And we'll get into the players who we need to step up. But again, like if you're that team, this should not be a trap game. I would look at more of a trap game next week. The Bucs on the road. Maybe you can make that case. The Bucs have been playing well. Yeah. But don't tell me the winless Panthers are a trap game. That's almost setting yourself up to accept a loss. You're not that team anymore. And I think that's the mental part of this, the mental side of things for fans to kind of get over. It's like, we're still the Lions. Like, we lost to the Panthers last year. Guys, this is a different regime with the Panthers. This is different. The Lions have gotten better, way better. So it's about really that mental switch for Lions fans to accept you are now that team. You should expect to win. The players, Dan Campbell talks about it, players should expect to win every single week. That's what's been changing for the Detroit Lions. But I want to get into the players now. 1 offense, 1 defense. We'll start with offense. And for you, Ryan, who needs to step up offensively for them to get it done today?
Well, I think it's David Montgomery. And I mentioned, this feels like one of those games. If you're not going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you're not going to have Jahmyr Gibbs, and we don't know the Gibbs thing officially yet, but you brought up the stat 4 of the last 170-some players to be listed as doubtful. Only 4 of those guys have played, so I don't anticipate Jahmyr Gibbs to play today. This feels like a David Montgomery. Remember that Chris Perry? I might be dating myself now, but 20 years ago, Chris Perry, 51 carries against Michigan State.
Oh, my gosh.
This feels like one of those games, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about 51 carries, but it feels like a good, healthy 25-carry game for David Montgomery.
That's Dan Campbell football.
Yeah,
51 carries in the run game. Physical. And to Ryan's point, at least for me offensively, I'll go a little different here. I think, there's certain guys, and when I hear the word who needs to step up, like Laporta, he needs to step up, Boone, but I expect him to be there. Like maybe the unsung heroes. I'll go with Josh Reynolds again. I think you need him. Again, last time Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't play at home, it was against the Seahawks last year, and Josh Reynolds had 80 yards. And I think Josh needs it to keep up kind of what he did last week, too, is make plays, be reliable. He's been the first down machine for the Lions. He needs to keep that up. Now, Laporta and David Montgomery are also part of that. But for me, to step up, to be a difference, to be that X factor, if Josh Reynolds has a big game, offense is going to have a good day today.
Now, can I give one that we haven't talked about yet, and I might get a lot of slack or whatever it is in the chat for this.
Uh-oh.
But they moved up Dylan Drummond, and I'm not saying it's Dylan Drummond, but they put him on the active roster, right? St. Brown obviously probably out. Who's going to be that third wide receiver today? Marvin Jones. We have not seen Marvin Jones since week 1, since he's had a couple drops, fumble. He did have a couple catches. He's on the field. If anyone doesn't notice, he's out there blocking. He's still playing 40, 50 snaps a game. He is still out there. Today, as that third guy, obviously Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, Sam Laporta. Marvin Jones is going to be out there a little bit more than he usually is because St. Brown's out. He will get some targets, I think, today. And he is a veteran player who had a bad week 1, hasn't had the opportunity or targets yet to kind of step back up and fill that role. Today is that day with an injury to where he's going to get a couple targets. You would have to think with that, and I know Jamo's back, but if Jamo's only going with 20 snaps, someone's going to have to fill that void. I wouldn't be surprised to see Marvin with a couple catches and maybe a couple for first downs that are big for the Detroit Lions today. And I know I literally just thought of this right before because I was going to go Sam Laporta. Talked about him too much today. I think I have. So I'm going to go Marvin Jones a little bit.
Can I give you another one?
Yep.
That we haven't mentioned yet? How about Jared Goff? You know, if Jared Goff is that guy, and I believe he is, I think most of us now believe he is that guy. I kind of correlate the Jared Goff situation a little bit, and maybe this is unfair to Jared Goff, to be honest with you, but a little bit like Daniel Jones of the Giants. Saquon Barkley is out. The New York Giants have no chance to win the football game. And that's with a $45 million quarterback.
Right.
No chance. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is out, if Jahmyr Gibbs is out, do you guys think the Lions have no chance to win the game? No. That's the Jared Goff difference.
100%.
Yes.
Jared Goff has become a top 8, 9, 10 quarterback in this league. Certainly top 10. And he might even be a top 8 quarterback. And it's games like this when you do have 2 of your top dogs out, where you do need the quarterback to step up and kind of just run the show. Play flawless football and win that game. Still dominate. Don't miss a beat.
Right.
And that's up to Jared Goff. And I don't think, when I say David Montgomery, it feels like a grounded. I don't think that's a protect Jared Goff because he can't play well without Amon-Ra St. Brown. You take what the defense is going to give you. You take where you have the advantage. But to me, Jared Goff, I'm not sure there's too many quarterbacks in the NFC that I would rather have than Jared Goff right now. He is an elite quarterback, and it's games like this that really determine, we can talk about division championship and playoff win and all that stuff, but it's really games like this where you have 2 horses out that kind of determine, I think, 4 months from now, whether or not you're going to pay them all that money with an extension. Games like this one today.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because earlier this week in the morning show I talked about that, at least for Jared. You look at the last 14 games for Jared, Ryan. He's 11-3. The Lions are. And it's a team game, but still, at Jared Goff at quarterback, they're 11-3 over their last 14. And on top of that, 24 touchdowns, 4 picks. Over 3,500 yards and over 100 quarterback rating. Jared Goff has been on a tear over the last 14 games. Now this season, throwing a couple picks, but this is a guy that didn't throw a pick through how many games? I mean, come on. He's been clean, and that's been the biggest thing with Jared. Everybody always brought up, go back to 2018. He led the league in turnovers. Well, guess what? Josh Allen now leads the league in turnovers since 2018. So things are different. Jared Goff has turned his career around. I believed he was the second best quarterback in the NFC last year behind Jalen Hurts. He's up there again this year, Booner. And this is one of those games, to Ryan's point, you could argue 3 of the 4, but you could argue 4 these last 4 games. Every game this season, he's had more experience than the opposing quarterback. Now, Patrick Mahomes has had more experience in the postseason, but Jared's had that advantage certainly the last 3 games.
Yes.
This could be another one.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here in the NFL, how do you win games is you win the turnover battle. That's how I look at it. And Jared Goff has been able to take care of the ball in that game, that 11-3 stretch. Today, to me, and there's no, to me, I still think this is a lock win for the Lions, but the only way a team like the Panthers can even get back in this game or be in this game when it comes into the fourth quarter is if you turn the ball over. If there is a fumble, if there's multiple interceptions, Jared Goff just does what he's been doing and takes care of the ball. And I know he's had 3 straight games with an interception. What has he done after that? He's responded, and he's gone and scored a touchdown, and he's turned
all 3 times.
All 3 times, and he's been the leader of that team. He talked about it this week or last week, I believe, where he said, "Hey, when we turn the ball over, we're moving on to the next play. We're completely on to the next possession," and they go score a touchdown. So that's where I have faith in a guy like Jared Goff, to where I'm starting to get that feeling to where I want him to be a part of this franchise and lead this franchise for years to go forward. Because right now, he's a top 7 quarterback in the NFL.
Absolutely.
If we're just being honest.
In the NFL.
And if you have that in the NFL, you want to keep that and you want to keep building off that. And if he's right now getting into his prime on that and he's taking care of the ball and he's starting to lead this offense, you don't want to disrupt that at all the next few years, and you want to keep building off that. And that's where I'm starting to get at with a guy like Jared Goff, the trust you build, working with Dan Campbell, working with these receivers, that offensive line. You do not want to get rid of that.
And with this defense last year, Ryan, the margin of error was so small for Jared to make a mistake. He could not. You make one mistake, the football game's over.
Yep.
Now you at least have a defense to where quarterbacks are going to throw picks. That's going to happen. Now you'd like them to happen, more or less than more so. But regardless, at least you have a defense this year, Ryan, that if there is a mistake, they can get a stop or hold the team to 3.
Well, that's exactly right. And you talk about the defense. The Detroit Lions have allowed 9 points outside of the red zone this year.
Wow.
3 field goals. That's it.
That's insane.
They have not allowed a touchdown in 4 games outside when the opponent has the ball outside of the red zone. 3 field goals. That's all they've given up. So Dan Campbell, we talk about his aggressiveness and going forward on 4th down and fake punts and this, that, and the other thing. Well, he does that because not only is he a little bit of a gambling man in that respect, and an aggressive head coach, but he does that because he's got a belief system that the Lions defense can take over and hold that team to a field goal and not allow them to score a touchdown and not allow that decision to bite them later in the game. So this Lions defense in that respect as well, and you talk about it in the Seattle game, the one game that they lost, I mean, they were fighting from behind in terms of field position all game because of the turnovers by the Lions, and they did a really nice job in that game as well. It was a bend but don't break, but yeah, 3 field goals outside of the red zone this year. That is tremendous.
Yeah, that'll help your quarterback. No doubt about that. People chiming in. Everyone is showing love for Goff here. Mike G. Goff is our guy, and he showed us. That's fair. That's fair, Mike. You're on point there. Mike also says Booner's a Goff guy. Word.
Turning into one.
Yes, and Wild West says Goff has proven recently he's good enough. Fun fact, though, Danny Walker Jr., Jeff, no offensive player over the last 3 seasons has played one game doubtful, because those stats I brought up were from 2015, 2016. But Danny says over the last, at least last 3 seasons, no one's played doubtful. Offensive player. There you go.
I wonder why they just put him doubtful and not just out.
Well, you keep the Panthers guessing.
Yeah, but if no one's done it the last 3 years, they already know. So there's just no.
Unless Danny Walker, if he's working in the NFL there, yeah, he's got.
Why not just leave him? Why not put him as questionable then for the gamesmanship?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, 100%. Lions of Detroit says, as long as Goff can be a perceived blue blood team in the playoffs, I'll keep him as one of the best. And that's the thing, right? You drafted Hendon, but for Goff at least. For me, extending Goff, it all makes sense what happens in the postseason. I'll let it play out as it plays out, but no doubt this game right today, Goff has more experience. You expect him to be the one to lean on today, especially no Gibbs, no St. Brown. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll talk more about the defense. What player on the defense needs to step up? We'll have that conversation and much more. You're tuning in to the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thanks for sticking with us. Don't forget, hit the like on the stream. It helps the channel and helps the show a lot. We'll see you guys right after the break.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Before we get into the Benito Jones fit, I'm loving, man, the Lions chain. Let the people see the chain, too. You got to turn that around for them. Woo! Woo, got the grit chain. Let's rock, man. How pumped up are you for this game?
Oh, dude. After last year, I'm super pumped up to get our revenge.
Yo, man, that's what everyone's talking about. Go in there, I keep saying it, blow them out the water, man. Leave them no air to breathe. Suffocate them. And before we got on this stream, you were talking about some of your concerns. You wish that the...
I mean, the injury report's a little longer than I'd like, but I still know those lines are still strong.
Yeah. Now listen, what is your final score prediction of this game today?
I'm predicting 27-12.
Ooh, let's go. So you're saying that the defense is going to be suffocating?
You know it. Hutchinson's going to be leading them, and they're going to be taking them out.
That's what's up. Who's your MVP of this game? Who do you think is going to be?
Goff's going to come through.
Let's go. I like that, man. Jared Goff has our game time MVP. And tell me about the Benito Jones fit, man. I like this. What's going on?
I mean, I did it before that all blew up, actually. But
so you were the original, the OG. Give me that.
You just got the same energy, that's all.
Hey, I like that, man. Once again, tell the people your name and where you're from, and we'll sign off.
Dave Johnson from Redford, and One Pride.
One Pride. Let's go. Gonna send it back to you.
Kool-Aid for sending it back to us. There you go. Brandon Dent and Luke Sklotz over there at Shed 5 at Eastern Market talking to the people. People are fired up. You got the Benito Jones fit, Ryan.
That was awesome. Flat out mic drop on that outfit, man. Flat out mic drop.
Well, now we actually can call it the Benito Jones fit. Like it's his fit.
I'm mad I didn't get one. I should have done that.
Booner, that's got to be the move.
I have to.
You got to get overalls.
I'll look into it this week.
Okay.
I'll look into it.
All right. I need Booner and overalls. I do. Matt Verville says the amount of disrespect Khalif gets is crazy. He's going to be the guy today. Trust me. Khalif Raymond's always been kind of that unsung hero.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any disrespect. Is there?
No, not at least now. I mean, we mentioned guys, but Khalif, no doubt, is one of those dudes. Again, you talk about the burners on this team. Without J-Mo, you got Khalif. There's no doubt about that. But I want to move to the defense. One player you need to step up for the defense here. And for me, I'm going to go with the easy one. Aiden Hutchinson. Because I think he's key today, guys. I mean, you got Bryce Young, again, who's got sacked 11 times in 3 games. Yeah, Jordan Hicks last week get free. Don't tell me Aiden Hutchinson can't get 2 sacks today, Ryan. It's got to be Aiden Hutchinson. Wreck the football game.
Look, there's a saying in sports, and it's a saying because it's true. Your best players have to be your best players. Period. You know, and Aiden Hutchinson has to be the Lions' best defensive player on the field today. He just has to, because he's going to make everything go, put pressure on the quarterback, and help guys like Emmanuel Mosley out a little bit in coverage. Right? I mean, if Bryce Young doesn't have any time to throw, you know who that helps? Cam Sutton.
Yep.
It helps Emmanuel Mosley. It helps everybody in that Lions secondary. So I am all in on Aiden Hutchinson today, no doubt about that. Can I give you another one?
Talk to me. Who do you got?
Tracy Walker. Brian Branch is out. We don't know the availability of Kirby Joseph yet. Emmanuel Mosley just stepping in. I think Tracy Walker is that guy, and the video that Broder put out this week of the practice squad players for the Lions doing down-ups, did you guys see that? Yep. And Tracy Walker and a couple other veterans getting down and helping them finish. That is leadership unlike anything you have ever seen in a Detroit Lions uniform. And I love that guy, Tracy Walker. He didn't pout when C.J. Gardner-Johnson came in and essentially took his job. He was a great teammate. He's still a great teammate. He's a great leader, and now he's doing it on the field. Look for Tracy Walker to be a little bit of an unsung hero for this Lions defense today.
And the thing I love about Tracy Walker is, and Booner, for him, yes, is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph. Those are your ball hawks. And Tracy has never been a ball hawk, but he's been a guy that's just solid. He's a tackling machine. And again, me and Lucas kind of mentioned this. I don't know how much this means, but he's the best backup safety in the NFL, and now he's starting. So you have a starter now that is now stepped up to replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And the other part of it is he's a vocal leader, which is something that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was before he was injured. He brought the juice. He was the battery pack of this defense. But now you got Tracy Walker, who I think does a good job filling some of that void vocally.
He 100%. And I'm going to second what Ryan said on everything, because my defensive player to step up, was Tracy Walker as well. I had the same exact guy. And even if you want to kind of expand on that a little bit more, Ife Melifonwu, he's a guy too. That secondary right now is a little slim. If Kirby, we're still waiting to hear whether Kirby is a go or not, Kirby Joseph is a go or not. But with Brian Branch out, CJ Gardner-Johnson's out for basically the year. You know, you're slim in that secondary right now, and especially if Kirby, he's probably out on the field right now seeing if he can go. If he can't go, Tracy Walker, number one, step up. Ife Melifonwu, step up. We need those guys to be elite today because we're slim in that position. And if those guys, like Brian, what did you say before? The Lions have not given up many big plays.
No.
Don't do that today. Don't let Bryce Young be the guy to give up big plays to. Go out there, be elite. Tracy Walker has proven he can. If he has proven the last few weeks that he can step up and make plays. So those are the two guys to me. Really, really like that's the key to the defense to me. Hutch, we always know that in that defensive line, we know they have to be big to kind of win. But to Ryan's kind of point, you have to, the Hutch and them, they have to do that to help the secondary out. And secondary has to be elite with it as well.
And honestly, you look at the wide receivers, too, that the Lions secondary is going to be up against today. A very familiar face in DJ Chark. I love Chark, what he did for this team last year. But, not sure he's a true number one wide receiver in this league. Adam Thielen is about 3 years past his prime. And Jonathan Mingo, maybe he'll have his day, but it's not right now. You know, I mean, the rookie from Ole Miss, a second-round pick. So they're trying to find a big-name wide receiver to go along with Bryce Young. He's just not there yet. They've got a lot of nice players at receiver, but I don't think they've got a ton of playmakers, flat-out playmakers at all.
Yeah, and to Ryan's point again, I mean, the Panthers made that very vocal. They want to trade for a number one wide receiver, so they don't have it. And Adam Thielen seems to be their number one wide receiver in his mid to low 30s there, which is, again, past his prime. He's still been productive, but not somebody that defenses every single week are worried about. He's a smart football player. He knows how to get open. But you have faith in who they have. Cam Sutton has done a great job this year. Now, I also want to bring this up, too, because you mentioned the Panthers' passing offense. They're 23rd right now in the NFL for passing yards a game. Now, the other point, though, with DJ Chark is these guys haven't really broken out. Adam Thielen had his best game with Andy Dalton. DJ Chark had his best game with Andy Dalton. I just don't think with Bryce Young, they're hitting their stride offensively. And to your point about the Lions not giving up any big plays, I don't really fear that this game because I have not seen it yet with any of these guys with Bryce Young. Still think Bryce will be fine eventually, but through his, fourth start in the NFL, it ain't going to happen today.
No, and up front, too, guys, offensively, up front, the offensive line, it's a middle-of-the-road to below-average offensive line, too, for Carolina, in my opinion. I think you're going to be able to get to Bryce Young today and make him run for his life. And I think that's why you've seen, look, this line, and Boone, you'll probably be able to speak to this more than anybody, but this line, went from, 8 to 10. Yeah. And now you've got St. Brown out, you've got Gibbs out, you've got Branch out. It's only come back down to 9. Yeah. It's not like it was cut in half or anything like that. So I think that Vegas knows, too, a little bit about this, too. Don't be fooled by all these guys out. The Lions should still be able to handle their business in convincing fashion.
In this comment, too, Mike says, I'm just tuning in. Is there going to be a watch stream later? Yes, there will be. Watch party and then a post-game show following. So, again, a lot left on the programming today on Woodward Sports. So stick around for that. Booner, how about that line, though? Because we looked at it yesterday, a couple days prior to, they were minus 9.5. Yeah. So where's it at right now?
I believe it's 9.5, so I can double check. But it's moved, like Ryan said, it's moved from I think almost 7 or 8 all the way up to 10 at one point. Yep. And back down to 9.5. So it has been moving, but Vegas has been consistent to where they do think the Lions are going to win this game by a good margin. So it doesn't really worry me that much. But even to you guys' point with Bryce Young's a rookie quarterback coming into a Ford Field, a hostile environment. Like, Ford Field is going to be tough to play in. He did play in Seattle, but this is another tough road game for a guy like Bryce Young to come into. And if he gets sacked a couple times, he's going to be rattled a little bit, you would think. And as loud as Ford Field can get this year right now, that's kind of where I'm looking at with this.
And this comment, Mike says, thanks, Jeff. I knew you were nicer than Neil. We'll appreciate you, Mike. That's a fact. So, I appreciate you a ton. This comment, though, and I want to shift the convo and give some credit here because Matt says, rule of thumb is the less you hear your good corner's name, the better he's playing.
100%.
You know what that's Cam Sutton, baby. And I talked about Cam Sutton, I don't know if it was this week or the week prior, but I did a breakdown comparing him to the best corners in the league. And he's elite. He's playing elite this year. And you look at what he's done when targeted, I think he's allowing like a 40 or 50% completion percentage for opposing quarterbacks when thrown in his direction. He's in that tier, Booner. I mean, last year he was damn good, playing mostly in the slot for the Steelers, but now he's shifted outside for the Lions. He's still solid. You don't hear Cam Sutton's name, but damn, they got it. They got that man on a discount.
It's a quiet leader for this defense too.
Absolutely.
You saw him in the post game there after I believe the Falcons game, and he came up there and he said, "Hey, let's set the tone in the NFC North going into that Green Bay game." He is a quiet leader that no one really talks about, but he is vocal in that locker room. You could definitely tell he's a big piece in that locker room. And like a lot of people in the chat, shout out to the chat too, because a lot of people are saying it. You don't hear his name a lot because he doesn't get targeted a lot because he's out there locking people up, and they don't want to go at him because they know what he can do. So that's been actually a very quiet piece and massive piece for this Lions team in the offseason, bringing in a guy like Cam Sutton to fill that role, that number one corner role. Has been elite at it.
Ryan, it seemed like last year you were hearing all the talk was about the corners.
Yeah.
Now this year,
Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, you don't hear much. You don't hear much about those corners, Ryan.
And when the Lions went out this offseason and got Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley too, you thought about these two teammates at Tennessee, like the instant connection and chemistry they could have on the field together as well. And it might not be instant like today, but I think those two players on, split the field in half, Sutton and Mosley together again like they were at the University of Tennessee. I think these two guys, and no disrespect to Will Harris, but I think when it's all said and done, Mosley is going to eventually, win this job outright and get more snaps at that position.
Yep.
But that connection on the back half too will be a pretty special one. I think the Lions at all three levels of the defense, up front, linebacking core, and defensive backs. Man, you want to talk about an improved unit from a year ago? My goodness, this is it.
Yeah, and at least it's a great point too because Emmanuel Mosley expected to play today. First time we'll see those two guys. Your cornerback one, cornerback two of the guys you're expected to lead this. Now, Jerry Jacobs has been solid, and the fact that you have that man in your secondary is something. Depth is important, and this team has it. But for Emmanuel Mosley, coming off that knee injury, before he was hurt last year for the 49ers, he was in that same tier of Cam Sutton for passer rating allowed and completion percentage allowed. These are two guys that didn't allow, I believe, over a 60% completion percentage. They were in the 50s. I believe Cam Sutton was around that number, and so was Emmanuel Mosley. Two guys that were playing great ball for two respected organizations with great coaches.
That makes this secondary that much better when Brian Branch is healthy, Kirby Joseph is healthy. Aaron Glenn's going to have to find a way to keep the best players on the field, whether it's Jerry Jacobs, Emmanuel Mosley. You're going to have to start moving guys around and figuring out how to keep these guys on the field because what do we talk about all the time? You want your best players on the field at all times. If your backup is Jerry Jacobs there and he's coming in different spots, that is great for this defense. So I'm looking at Emmanuel Mosley as a positive coming back. Like you guys said, this battle is going to be good for Jerry Jacobs, going to be good for Emmanuel Mosley, and you're just adding another elite corner. I'm actually excited to see Emmanuel Mosley play today. I can't wait to see how many snaps he gets and what he does.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. I know I'm trying to find out because I saw this comment, and I don't want to overreact here because I have to find the actual news myself here and get a confirmation. But James says, I'm hearing from multiple sources that St. Brown is believed to have a sports hernia that could require surgery. I'm going to wait on that.
Who said that?
Someone in the chat was just saying that. But I'm going to check on that with local beat reporters. We'll talk to Broder on that as well.
And when I spoke with Broder, too, like at practice, Amon-Ra was out there running. He even said he ran at top speed at one point this week.
Yeah,
so that might be a little bit of a – we kind of have to wait and kind of get official reports. But from Broder – he's out there running outside on the on the side with trainers, and he was getting work.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but we'll see. Regardless, let's get into our score predictions when we come back from break. We'll tell you how the game's going to go in our opinion, and what do we got the score to be, and then we'll close out the show here. You're tuning into the Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. G-G-G-G-A. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
All right, Jeff and Ryan, we are back down here at Eastern Market. And who do we have with us right now?
Brent? Canton, Michigan.
All right, there we go. Big game, people would say today.
Absolutely.
A lot of injuries for the Lions. Panthers team 0-4.
Yeah.
But you can never sleep on any NFL team.
Yeah.
What do you think are the keys to the game for the Lions to win today? What do you think they have to do to pull out the W?
Well, of course, they have to control the line of scrimmage, right? So the big fellas in the front, they got to do their job, and of course the defensive line. I think that's the heartbeat of our defense.
Absolutely.
So I believe if we do those two jobs, we'll come out victorious.
If you had to pick, who do you think on the Lions defense? Who do you think needs to step up and have like an A+ game today?
Oh man, all of them. But of course, Hutch.
Okay.
Hutch has to put the pressure, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it all starts. Linebackers, McNeil obviously can create some disruption there in the middle. I think that's going to be the key for us.
And then offensively, who do you think needs to step up?
Well, you know, with the injuries, I'm not sure what we got on the field today, but I don't know if St. Brown. I guess he's doubtful, right?
Right now, it looks like Gibbs and St. Brown are both going to be out.
Are going to be out.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously Montgomery, he has to do his thing.
Yep.
And if Goff can protect the ball, I think we should be okay.
Okay, and final score?
Final score, Lions 27, Panthers 7.
Love to hear it. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. Lions are injured, but they're still picking up that W, Brent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
we're sending
it.
back to you guys at the studio.
Thank you, Lucas, down there at Eastern Market Live, sending us all the content. We're going to check in over at Shed 5. Shout out to our friends over at Bullseye Event Group and Long Drink, man. We had long drinks at 5 Hour on this Thursday. Delicious.
Looks like Lucas stopped by a little dispo, too, before
he took a detour to dispo on the way down to Eastern Market.
Some glorious
out of the little blue.
A local cannabis plug.
Yeah. Let's get into these final score predictions, fellas. We're kind of closing out at the end of the show. We've been saving it. We teased who we think will win, but how it plays out, and I'll just start with me. I have zero concern that this Lions defensive line will take a step back. They've proven it through a handful of games. There's still plenty of season left, but not against the Panthers. They're not taking a step back, guys. Miles Sanders, 2.9 yards per carry throughout the season. Could he have a bounce back performance? One game he could. Not today. I don't think the Lions defense is going to let Miles Sanders have a big one. And I think by default, they're going to make Bryce Young throw about 30-plus attempts. And that's ideal. You had Jordan Love throw over 30 passes. How'd that work out? Had a couple turnovers, and they got destroyed. So that's the path to victory. Stopping the run, getting after Bryce Young, making him drop back, and letting those guys in that defensive line kind of peel their ears back and get after Bryce. I think that's how it plays out. Maybe you get a turnover or two. And I think this Lions offense, not that they're going to score 40, but I think they'll score enough to where the Panthers are not going to be in reach. My final score, I had 24-16 on Friday. I'm bumping it up, 27-16. I'll give them a field goal. I think they win by 9. I don't think this Lions offense, with the pieces they have out, goes out and scores 30-plus. But you know what, Ryan? I got them winning by over a touchdown.
See, I don't think they kick any field goals today. This doesn't feel like a Riley Patterson game to me. So I'm going to go 35-10.
Ooh, okay.
And 4 offensive touchdowns for the Lions, and I think they get one defensively. That's what I'll say. Defensive touchdown and 4 offensive touchdowns, 35-10.
What about you, Boone? What do you got?
I think we're all kind of on the same page a little bit here. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions 34, the Carolina Panthers 17. I do think that's 17. You know what I think it's going to end up being like? I think it's going to be like this Packers game last week, where the Lions go out there, they go out and get out to an early lead, and in the second half a little bit, the Panthers get a couple scores to kind of get themselves to 17. But the whole game, it's out of reach, and it's going to feel like that the whole time. Maybe, in 34 points, I think that's a good amount there. 4 touchdowns, a field goal, somewhere around there. So I like 34-17 today.
And people chiming in and giving their final scores as well, and I'll go through them and kind of share some of the people's scores. Denver Blair says 30-9 Lions. Jeff Berg says 2014 Lions. Bradley Mercer 24-17 Lions. K Lions 42, Panthers 10. A lot of blowouts here, 30-plus points for the Lions. I see a lot of people predicting that. Lions of Detroit, to me, how is Carolina going to score 16? I get it, and maybe they won't score 16. But a couple field goals I can see for Bryce Young. Yeah. I just can't. Now, are they going to score 20-plus? I don't think so. I do not think this is the game where the Panthers offense with Bryce Young scores 20 for the first time. Maybe it comes, but with his fourth start, no way. No how. Rob
no way.
I mean, again, look at this Lions defense. They've only 5 teams in the last 14 games have scored more than 20 on them. Does Carolina feel like they're in that club? No, this Lions defense is for real. Lions, baby. Come on.
Real quick, too, in the chat here, someone did ask about Kirby Joseph. Broder did say he's on the field warming up right now and looks pretty good, but he'll keep us posted. So
there you go.
There you go.
Kirby may come back today.
Yeah, and again, Broder, shout out to him. He's down there at Ford Field holding it down for the network. And that JMO news, man, like, working with Goff before the game, yes, of course, that's just sharpening some things, but kind of tells you they want to get JMO involved. They
Ryan,
do.
First touchdown, maybe. I'll let you guys know for the stream.
Did you do it?
I didn't do it, no. If I do first touchdown, I'll announce it on the stream right when we go live if I do one.
There you go. I know Mike and Chris, you guys don't have the cameras here, but I want your guys' input regardless. Mike, I'll go to you first. Give me a score prediction. How do you see it playing out?
27-7. I think it kind of gets off to a slower start in the beginning, but the Lions pull away towards the end. Obviously, the defense is going to be a big factor, shutting down Bryce Young and that offense. So I'm picking Lions 27-7.
27-7. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, you're good.
Is it good?
Yep.
Okay.
He's letting you be great now.
Now
Chris.
it is.
Now it's my time to shine, baby. I got it 30-17 Lions. I think this is gonna be an easy, comfortable dub, and I think that a lot of Carolina's points will be in the second half. I think they're gonna have single digits at halftime. They're gonna be slowed down, and they're gonna get one extra pity field goal or touchdown in garbage time. But the Lions are gonna comfortably cruise through this one.
And look at this. Koke says Bryce is going to earn his whole salary running for his life today. I think that's how we all feel. And again, I want to say before we leave here, I appreciate all you guys for taking the time out of your morning, tuning into the pregame show here on Woodward Sports Network. We do this every game day. I get joined along a different guest every single week. This week, I was very lucky to have my guy.
Oh,
Ryan
my
Ermani.
God. It was my pleasure. Are you kidding me?
Look at that
it was
joy
my
today.
pleasure. I mean, this is just so enjoyable to sit here and let you drive. And, oh, man. man, I'm just taking a seat back over here and just reacting to you. It's great.
Yeah, no, Ryan's letting me cook. I'm giving him the day off.
I'm not letting you do anything. You earned that.
Again, appreciate you guys, man. Don't forget, before you leave, hit the like button on the stream. It helps the channel, and it helps, of course, the show itself. Until next week, Lions are on the road the next 2 weeks, so it'll be a different crew, but we'll still be covering it. Michael Gentry holding it down in the audio booth. Appreciate you, Mike. Booner. You can check out Woodward Nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays. Him and Broder and the boys. They'll be holding it down. The stream as well. We have afterwards, and of course, we have the post-game show. Stick, Maz, and the entire crew there. Stick around. Come back to Woodward Sports. We're killing the Lions coverage. I think we're the best in the city right now for Lions coverage.
God, without a doubt. Are you kidding me?
That's just how it works. We live and we breathe the Detroit Lions. Chris Platte holding it down for us in the TD booth. Appreciate you, Chris, man, for taking the time. Again, until next week, man, go Lions. Hopefully we get a victory, and stay tuned for the watch party and the postgame show.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for
there
the
we
most
go.
anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.